This is Charlie with High Noon Scooters. You can see we're here at our garage. We're working on a few race projects and some other scooters, but today we've got a 2003 Stella. It has a sidecar attachment that we picked up off a guy here in Olympia for our buddy Tim, and we're going to be putting this thing back together, and we're going to have a cute little cruiser. It's going to have a DR 180 kit to give a little bit more pickup on hauling that sidecar along. You can see it's got aluminum wheels, it's going to have upgraded brakes, it's got upgraded SIP shocks, and we're going to find out what else is in the many boxes we picked up with it. Alright, and here we've got the sidecar. It's a California sidecar in Ford blue. It's been painted by the previous owner, who unfortunately couldn't finish the project, so we're going to get this mounted up to its tram and get it all slapped together. Hey, it's Charlie. I'm High Noon Scooters. Today we're looking at this Stella that we've got a sidecar attachment to. It's got a DR 180 on it, and we got it in a bunch of boxes, and we've laid out all of our parts, accounted for everything, some duplicates, but that's great to see. Brand new everything, a lot of SIP ordered stuff, which, as those of you suffering through tariffs know, is harder and harder to come by. We got her up on the lift. We're going to get that started in a bit, but today's project was mostly working on the engine. The engine sat in a box after it was rebuilt by another entity out of state, and we just wanted to make sure that having sat in the box didn't have any rot or any gaskets fail or anything else that can come with an engine sitting. We were running a leak down test. Leak down test is pretty simple. You need to block off all of your entry and exit points on the bike. That's your exhaust, your inlet valve, your spark plug. On this particular test, what I do is I set it to bottom dead center so all the ports are open, and then pump it using the old blood pressure meter and a hole through this. The air is going to go in the spark plug hole here, and you got to have a special adapter for that. I will be selling those, but that aside, pump it up, get it to about 250, 260 on your blood pressure cuff, and let it hold. And if it's not holding, spray it down with some soapy water and find out where your leak's coming from, and that'll tell you if your seals are good. So what we're going to do next is, now that we've got all of our parts laid out and everything, we're probably going to be dropping the engine into the body. We're going to be dropping the fork. The previous owner had put the mudguard on backwards, so we're going to swap that around. Then we're going to work on just chasing down all of our wiring, make sure all the wiring's hooked up well, insert our throttle, brake, clutch, brake side, and we really don't have to do too much as far as that, because this person, thankfully, when they painted it, left a lot of stuff intact for us, so we don't have to go chasing out where all the wires go and everything. You can see some of the stuff was left hooked up, fuel indicator, all that kind of stuff. So should be pretty straightforward on this. It's pretty superbly painted. was we had to do a bit of an overhaul on the front fork. The previous owner hadn't installed the axle nut correctly, and had put some weird spacers in there, so we got that back down to spec. Today we're going to be looking at the floor rails, which is a very cumbersome project. You want to make sure you have the correct tool, which of course is our SIP branded rivet installer tool, which a friend of ours was kind enough to let us borrow. And then I chased down all the wiring. I know where the wiring is going on everything now. We had a lot of cut ends and stuff, and a lot of grease and electrical tape over everything, so we didn't know the colors of the wires. But now we've got those all sorted out. We found where all the cables were routed, so we'll be running the cables through, new cables. Best way to be going about that is to run a wire through the new cable and the old cable and use it as one motion to pull them all the way through the bike. Otherwise, you're having to get your hand in there and scratch it up to run them through the center channel. Went through all of our rubber pieces that we got in the pack. Found all the rubber pieces that we had that we were missing, that were old. Some of them were painted over. And so they're all hard and crispy now, and we want to go ahead and take care of those. Because the bike was oversprayed, we're going to be going through and putting some grounding points for some things like the turn signals on the cowls, on the front blinkers. When those go in, they need to have a ground point, and if there's a layer of paint, it won't ground, and then your turn signals won't work. Uninstalled the tail light. And found a much more snazzy tail light to go on there. And then because of also the painting on the floor, a lot of the holes for the rail mounts were covered up. So taking a little pick and finding where those holes were and punching through the paint and getting those out. What else did we do? Went through all the parts. And lay them out where they're going to go on the bike. So everything is going to be sort of compartmentalized and organized throughout the garage. Even though it looks like mass chaos and doom piles, we have everything where it needs to be.
Add fuel to the fire and watch it burn.
we're back, and what we did was we did most of the floor rails. Come in here and show the beautiful work that Tim did here on these floor rails. So, as I said before, you really want to do this with the proper tool. This being a Stella, you know, PX, rails, things don't always line up. Without the tool, you're basically trying to hit it with a mallet, a hammer, a punch, and a piece of wood. And with the proper tool, it makes it a lot easier. One thing we did learn is that, like all things good in Italian, if you put a little bit of oil on it, it makes it even better. Tim had the great idea to put a little 30 weight down the rails, and it made that rubber just slide right in. We've also run all of our control cables. Oil, make sure you lubricate those. Some people use grease on some of the cables over a dedicated lubricant oil. You know, to each their own. Grease has its drawbacks. It can collect some dirt and everything in the cable housing, which isn't great. But I've also run grease on some bikes for years, and that's been fine. We've got the headset lined up and everything. It's not installed because all the electrical's still jigged out. We've sorted out all of the pile of bits we were given, and mostly sorted out what was random Home Depot purchases of bolts and stuff, and what are actual bolts that go on the bike. One other note is that this was an overspray paint job, and so one of the things you want to do is find all of your nut heads and threaded bits that are, you know, welded into the frame. You want to get in there with a tap and die and de-paint all of those, because you'll end up stripping stuff. You'll never be able to get it back together. Hey, we're back. We've run the cables. We've sorted out all of our electrical ends and where they go. Reapplied some stuff there. Got a pulley from a friend of ours. Then we've done a leak down test on the engine, made sure the clutch plates weren't stuck. Want to make sure and do that whenever an engine's been sitting. Those clutch plates, even though they're lubricated, can over time kind of seize up into each other. Check the jetting on the carburetor. It's already set up for the pipe that we're going to put on there. And then we've also run, and this is rather important, if you're running the stock airbox on any of your Vespas, there's a little plastic piece in the floor here, and it's a pain to remove and get all your wires and cables and everything, and it's a pain to reinstall, and you'll end up cutting up your fingers pretty good, but it is part of your airbox system. So your air goes through the hole here and into your airbox through this bellows, which is also kind of a pain to install. Best way to do it is start at this end, let this end flop around. Heat it up with a little bit, get the rubber nice and soft. But the bellows acts to pull air from this area here, so if you don't have that piece of plastic in there, you're not getting good airflow. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to finish up some of our wiring. We're working on splicing our taillight ends to run to the sidecar. And we're going to go ahead and install a center stand on here so that we have something when we're test riding the bike around and dialing it in. We can set it up and don't have to just lean it on its side. That's pretty much it. So we've got a new tap in the gas tank, and we've got the bike all lifted up, and the next step is going to be putting our engine in. We got two bolts. You got your swing arm and you got your shock end. Best to do swing arm first, then lift the back end, put the shock in. Pretty straightforward. On some of the PXs and Stella motors, the airbox will get in the way of your lift, of the frame, and so when you're lifting, you gotta go vertical with it. So it's best if you have a lift, put it on the lift. If not, jack up the bike and get it in there.
The one more drink till they can't stand up. Bombs in the set, take his ass outside. One so hard to keep his skin in line. Down the pub.
Okay, so back at it after we remove the old bushing, put in the new bushing. You want to use some of that white tire paste that they use for installing tires because it doesn't corrode the rubber. Heat up the case towards the back end. Just put your heat gun or propane torch on that. Get it nice and warm. That bushing and its metal mount will just slide on in if you have a little bit of trouble. Use your old trusty 19 millimeter and a little open-ended. Place them on either end. Take a vice grip or a clamp and just get it tight and it'll pull it on through. We've got the engine all mounted up now. We've got the airbox top on, a little bit different things on the Stella, like the coil is mounted here. Most bikes it's mounted on the back, but this has got a starter motor, so it's a little different. We had some clutch rubbing, which we didn't notice when it was on the bench, but they just needed to remove some more material, so we removed some material and that freed the clutch up from spinning. Got the gas tank got a new tap in it, and we've been holding some gas in there just to make sure there's no leaks. Need the fuel wrench tap for that, like can't get that nut on without it. Finished wiring up all the control cables, so they're all good to go. Clutch side's good, and that's about it. It was a long day and a lot of little teeny tiny things, a lot of wiring connectors and stuff. Mounted up our eventual sidecar harness to our tail light, so it'll have a brake light and everything as well. And that's about it. Alright, so we got a little update. We've got all the electrical hooked up. It's running fine, turn signals work and everything. Just used a dummy battery to kind of make sure that power was getting to where it needed to go. Then we hooked up our side stand mount and center stand. Now you don't really need both, but because we want to test ride this bike before hooking up the sidecar, it's a lot easier with the center stand on. You're going to make sure you've got extra holes drilled for your center stand. They take a little bit wider than your sidecar mount. They take wider bolts than the center stand does, so you'll have to widen those holes out. And everything kind of lines up. Your center stand will kind of mount in these holes here with a little rubber base, and you can kind of rotate this a little bit to when you're doing your alignment. The other big thing was that we noticed that the former owner hadn't installed the spacer between the shock and the body. There's just a little spacer nut. It's about 20-30 millimeters long, but it throws off the whole geometry of your whole bike. You'll notice that if you don't have one installed, your kickstart gear will be below your floorboards. We also installed our exhaust. This was a SIP Road exhaust. I've never really had any issues with them. This one came from the factory, over tightened, so the clamp was pretty well shut, and we had to spread that pipe back out. And then when we got in there, realized that the spot welds for where the top of the spigot is had come through, so I had to file all those out. Take the Dremel and get all those out because it was stopping this the exhaust from sitting flush against the out port on the cylinder head.